lot of our own gente went to fight for our rights. And so when we cruise, this is for them.
It's called lowriding.
Yeah, I would still lowride.
Yeah, I'd still be a lowrider no matter what.
Cruising is alive and well.
It said, no cruising. So I said, no. They stood up then, we're gonna stand up now.
Could you call it systemic racism and be correct? Yes.
It's never too late to right an historic wrong.
Chicanos refuse to be silenced or let their identity be suppressed.
It's illegal to modify the suspension on a vehicle. A lowrider is making a statement.
That's why the car does embody a form of resistance.
Keep riding, slow and low. Ready? Yeah. There we go. Yes, let's close it and lock it. We put the ramps in. Okay. We're gonna start putting all of our stuff to show the car. To be honest, we've taken our cars to LA quite a bit, but super shows are definitely a little more high maintenance. There's something about cleaning the car up. My daughter, my sons, they cleaning the car up and getting it out there and just cruising.
We always are just going out of town for car shows, like whether we have our car or not. We'll try to go to whatever we can.
This is like a thing for our family to stay together, something for us to enjoy together. Lucky for us that our kids love it as much as we do.
Yeah, I would say I just grew up in it pretty much since I was a kid.
I love it. I love it because we're together doing something. It's a family thing.
And make it out for different events like museums, picnics, car shows. It's just exciting getting to show like what your club has.
38th Street is the neighborhood, the street that our car club was founded, and then Duke's Car Club. When you get to the show, you're gonna see we have the Dukes are taking up a whole intersection. California, we got the North and the South come together in two-story convention center, cars on every floor. It's all about getting out there and sharing what we love.
Wife's car, son's car. This is my car. I think that lowriding has really become a Chicano expression of cultural pride and history and tradition on wheels. I think that what we can agree on is that lowriding is born in the Mexican-American experience in the southwestern part of the United States. Lowriding in its inception is really a culture of repurposing. You know, there were a lot of cheap cars from the 30s available because in the 40s, people wanted new cars, especially post-World War II. People would get them and fix them up. They lowered the car in the back, right? Which was the antithesis of Anglo car custom sensibilities, the hot rod, which would lower it in the front and jack it up in the back for drag racing purposes. You know, this cutting against the mainstream, I mean, it's illegal to modify the suspension on a vehicle. A lowrider is making a statement that is, we're gonna drive this thing as low to the ground as we can.
My name is Jacob Dominguez, and I'm from the Duke's Car Club of Orange County, retired.
I'm in the Old Style Car Club.
Bomb Life, Brown Descents, Viejitos. I've been lowriding since 1975.
38 years.
25 years.
Since the late 70s.
I just call her my baby.
Family affair.
The kids say dream catcher.
We've had numerous cars over the years.
A lot of heart, a lot of money, a lot of patience.
Took 9 years to build.
Just my other lady.
Can we redo it again?
Yeah.
Back in the days when I was younger, lowriding wasn't accepted.
The police crackdown on cruisers on J and L Street in downtown Sacramento is taking its toll.
This scene takes place every Friday and Saturday night on about a dozen side streets.
They see you lowriding, man, they'll pull you over for anything, man. They send 2 squad cars, man. That's a lie, man. They'll be sending all kinds of cops, man.
As soon as you see a police officer back in those days, most of the time they made a U-turn and come after you. They would come up to you at gunpoint and put a gun to your head. and say, get out of your car. They'd go over there and take your seats out of your car, and they'd harass you. They would demolish your car and then say, okay, you don't have nothing on you, you're okay to go.
They started, putting sandbags in the trunk and customizing it, modifying it, and then they realized that police started messing with them because of that. They added their own touches to it and made it kind of like, almost like they were rebels.
Low riding in the time that we're talking about, late 70s, early 80s, the majority of people involved in the culture are Mexican American. So the impact of those laws are going to disproportionately affect, to a greater degree, Mexican American youth. Could you call it systemic racism and be correct? Yes. There's a long history of hot rod culture and drag racing on the Great Highway. The majority of those kids were white. Are you targeting hot rods? Are you targeting white kids? And I've yet to see that happen.
When we cruise our cars, I mean, this is like also mental therapy for us. So I feel like our cars are one way to show who we are. It's an outward expression of our Chicanismo. We are in the heart of East LA right here on Whittier Boulevard, and this is a significant location, actually an iconic location to the lowrider community and Chicano culture.
It was absolutely huge. I mean, you're talking about miles of lowriders on a parking lot, both directions. As that shut down, it switched to Story and King in San Jose. Every town pretty much had their cruise spots. Growing up in Modesto, we had McHenry. San Francisco had Mission Street. I'm gonna be, completely honest and transparent here. Not every lowrider is up for sainthood.
Streets were open and the traffic headed for McHenry Avenue, where cruising continued until the early morning hours.
Growing up in Modesto, Graffiti Night was a huge event. Every summer, there'd be 100,000 people on the street.
But after someone was shot and killed in the early morning hours after the sanctioned event by an undercover police officer, the city refused to participate, hoping Graffiti Night would just fade away.
And that was that. The whole community pays the price for the actions of a few.
California.
Many cities around California put ordinances out that you can't cruise in their city, mainly the Latino community. That's who they were trying to stop. If the cars were too low or if they were modified, that's all they'd have to see is that the car was low so they could pull you over, and that was the probable cause that they had to start doing whatever it is they did.
So that's when then hydraulics came about, because a lot of the people who lowered their vehicle, they were being, criminalized for lowering it. So they said, okay, we'll go ahead and hire it. So there was a form of resistance there. This is where another big sign was right here. It said, no cruising. I started noticing those no cruising signs, and I looked into the vehicle code, and in fact, it was, a legit vehicle code. It was, you can't pass more than 2 times within a 6-hour period. Those signs reminded me of the awful signs we saw prior to the civil rights movement. And so I said, no, they stood up then, we're gonna stand up now.
Ready, set, dream cabin nestled in the woods. Just 4 hours to go. New job halfway across the country. Butterflies before a first date. Audition for a role made for you. Hopefully. Biggest game of your lives. There's go in everything you do. That's why 76 is there to fuel all the ways you go, go, go. Ready, set, dream cabin nestled in the woods. Just 4 hours to go. New job halfway across the country. Butterflies before a first date. Wherever you go, 76 fuels all the ways you go, go, go.
Whittier Boulevard is definitely a place to come when you are a part of the lowrider scene. A lot of people got pushed out of this area years ago. They would cruise right here, but then the sheriff would, take place and be here and push us out and shut it off here. There would be, you know, an altercations of something here or there that would take place, but those are things that happen here in East LA on any given day, not just on a Sunday. They would target Sundays. And we're like, why is these issues only a problem on Sundays when there's lowriders on the boulevard? They in fact told us one time no lowriders allowed driving into a parking location to go get some tacos with my mom and dad in the car. And I was like, wow, I was like, how embarrassing my parents had to come witness. You know, I felt it was racism. I created the change.org petition. I started reaching out, connecting with people, fighting the ban, and that has almost 10,000 signatures.
In 1988, here, where you're standing at the state capitol, Assembly member introduced a bill, and it was signed into law that allowed local governments to pass anti-cruising ordinances.
We are here because we believe that cruising is not a crime. I am Assemblymember David Alvarez. I am the author of the bill, which we have a number for now, Assembly Bill 436.
Today I rise to present AB 436 by Assemblymember Alvarez, a bipartisan supported bill. This bill will highlight the role of cruising by creating community, expressing love for art, and bringing unity.
It's not the cruising that becomes a crime. It's what other people do when there is cruising going on in the community.
AB 436 will also repeal existing law that allows local authorities to stop drivers from driving cars that have been modified to a certain height.
Local government should have the ability to set time and place limitations and to make sure that traffic is moving during a cruising time. It's hard because when people make this an ethnic issue, then it looks like I'm not following the group there.
There's a lot of super shows down here. So I like coming to the super shows a lot to meet new people and new club members. Just lowrider people, like lowrider kids, yeah, and girls. Right now I'm just swapping my Reeboks for fat laces because they look better with that. Have my sister iron my clothes for me because I don't really know how to crease up yet. She's teaching me.
Anytime before a car show, it's always last minute too. They always just hand me their stuff and like, here, can you iron this? Sure. Well, usually you have to iron the pants like a lot. People think you need starch, but you don't need to do all that. And honestly, it's just hairspray. I just use hairspray on my creases. Right now, I'm just taking these threads away. I don't really want to hang that up and burn my finger, but I get a lot of kids have other stuff going on. They have like different hobbies, but this is what I'm into and this is what I like doing. So this is kind of my, not even hobby, it's more of like a lifestyle, you know?
These kids have a responsibility. And we've made it clear too, when we're out there and we're wearing our gear, that's a responsibility. We're representing the Dukes family.
Car club culture started with lowriding with the Dukes car club down in Los Angeles. My understanding is that they started to work on cars to get away from gang life. There are some car clubs that are more centered on community engagement. There are some that are just about showing their cars. If you go to the 70s and the beginning of like Cinco de Mayo celebrations that were really an expression born out of the Chicano movement, which was a subset of civil rights, then what you see front and center in the parades, in the park celebrations, you have lowriders. As you see the cruising bans come into play, then people, you know, there were more and more shows that mushroomed because people needed a place to congregate.
All told, there were more than 60 customized cars on display. Cruisers of all shapes, sizes, and colors. With the aid of hydraulic lifts, they also hop.
People that are don't have any pride in their cars, those are the people that cause the police in this community problems.
The car has to be unique.
So I have the one with the red one, is most wanted. I hop, I gas hop, I three-wheel.
I've been custom painting since I was 13 years old. This one took me 3 months, start to finish.
1957 Bel Air. The name of the car is drifting on a memory.
So it's a 1991 Mazda B2200, something that I grew up admiring, and I, got to build this and live my dream.
I put my family tree on it. That's my nephew. That's my sister.
I say all the vehicles are beautiful. There's no ugly car. But I gotta find where the mistakes were made. And that's kind of my way of judging. I counted so far 621 cars so far, 200, 300 categories. We got the luxury vehicles, we got the bomb cars, we got the bicycles, we got hot rods, rod rods, trucks. We'll be judging the paint himself, which is one. And then we judge the graphics, we judge the murals, hydraulics, trunk bed, engraving, plating, wheels. So pretty much at the end, we add up the numbers and 1, 2, and 3, and the best car wins.
Get down, get down.
It's seeing your friends, getting together with their car club members. It's like a big family kind of, Feels like family reunion. Like for the hoops, that's just what I prefer is bigger hoops. Bigger the hoops, better the person. It just has like all the stuff that I wear, like the hoops and everything, the nails, the flowers. Because I take pride in the way that I dress. It's like, if you don't take pride in the way that you dress, it's like going out cruising with dirty wheels. It doesn't matter, like anywhere that I go, always people are gonna look at me a certain way. Now I'm just used to it. I feel like people they don't understand that because they don't get to know these people. But yeah, a lot of these people are just like everyday people that you meet in your life.
The start of a lot of the car club culture became because it was a way for you to stay in your neighborhood, still have respect from people, and they didn't expect you to go out and do a lot of this, the dumb stuff that was going to end you up killed or in prison.
So many clubs from the 60s that started this and have went through all those growing pains and a time when it wasn't a good time for lowriding. They're here standing.
Today is the time for everyone, all the members, to demonstrate their true leadership and to support the Cruising is Not a Crime statewide bill. Sí se puede.
Ready, set, dream cabin nestled in the woods. Just 4 hours to go. New job halfway across the country.